Hello everyone and welcome to today's session, and today we'll be discussing the NCERT Exemplar questions for the chapter Biodiversity and Conservation. This is the disclaimer. So today we'll be discussing the basic concepts related to the chapter Biodiversity and Conservation by working through NCERT Exemplar questions. So these questions are based on some concepts. We'll discuss these concepts by discussing these Exemplar questions. So these questions have been divided into the following categories. So we have multiple choice questions, very short answer type question, okay, short answer type question, and long answer type questions. So let's start with the multiple choice question first. So first question is, which of the following countries has the highest biodiversity? For more information, you can read NCERT section 13.1.4. Okay, you have four options here. You have to select the correct answer from these four options. The first option is Brazil, second is South Africa, third is Russia, and fourth is India. So what will be the correct answer? So option number A, Brazil is the correct answer. Let's have a look at the explanation. So Brazil is home to most diverse ecosystem on earth due to its vast variety of habitats like the Amazon rainforest, Atlantic forest, and the Pantanal, which supports an immense range of plant and animal species. Now, these ecosystems provide shelter, food, and breeding grounds for countless organisms, making Brazil a global biodiversity hotspot. Okay. So, why Brazil is so diverse? Why it has so diverse number of species? Why there's a lot of biodiversity? So, this is due to its large size and varied climate. It also have Amazon rainforest, which is home to vast number of species. So in this image, you can see Amazon rainforest. They are also known as the lungs of the earth because they fix atmospheric nitrogen, atmospheric carbon dioxide by the process of photosynthesis, and they produce oxygen. So basically, they are cleaning up the air. Next question, which of the following is not a cause of loss of biodiversity? So options are destruction of habitat, invasion of alien species, keeping animals in zoological parks, and the last option is overexploitation of natural resources. So what will be the correct answer? Okay. So here, keeping animal in zoos, we can say it is not a perfect solution for wildlife conservation, but we can say that zoos play an important role in protecting endangered species for extinction. So keeping animal in zoos is not a cause for loss of biodiversity. Rather, we can protect the endangered species from extinction. Now, zoo, they also serve as educational centers where people can learn about different animals and understand the importance of protecting them, which is part of conservation efforts. Now, what are the causes of biodiversity? The first one is the destruction of natural habitats. This is the primary cause of loss of biodiversity as it removes the homes and resources that species depend on for survival. Second is introducing exotic or alien species into an ecosystem. This can also disrupt the balance by competing with indigenous species for resources like food, space, and sunlight. Next one is overexploitation of natural resources. This refers to using these resources more than what they can naturally replenish, leading to their depletion. This is harmful because it can cause environmental damage, loss of biodiversity, and disrupt ecosystem. For example, overfishing can lead to the extinction of fish species, while excessive deforestation can cause soil erosion and loss of habitat. Last one is the co-extinction of species. This refers to the extinction of one species due to the extinction of another species. It depends on. For example, if a plant species disappears, the insects that rely solely on it for food may also become extinct. Next question, which of the following is not an invasive alien species in the Indian context? The options are Lantana, Cynodon, Parthenium, and Icornia. So remember, they are asking about the alien species in Indian context? So what would be the correct answer? So option number B, cynodon is the correct answer. Let's have a look at the explanation. So cynodon, commonly known as doob grass, is a type of grass that is not originally from India. It comes from other parts of the world. This means it was introduced to India from somewhere else. Now, cynodon has been widely cultivated throughout the country. Despite being non-native, the species has naturalized well in India, meaning it has adapted to the local environment and can now be found growing naturally. However, it is not classified as an invasive alien species because it does not cause significant harm to the local ecosystem, economy, or human health. The other three, Parthenium, which is also known as Congress grass or carrot grass, Iconia, also known as water hyacinth, and Lantana, they are the alien species which pose threat to native species. So these species, they compete with the native plants for resources like sunlight, water, and nutrients, often outcompeting them and reducing biodiversity. This is an image showing you cynodon, which is not considered as an alien species in Indian context. Next question, where among the following will you find pitcher plant? His options are rainforests of Northeast India, Sundarbans, Thar Desert, and Western Ghats. So, what will be the correct answer? Correct answer is option number A, rainforest or Northeast India. Let's have a look at the explanation. So, pitcher plant grow in tropical rainforest because these areas have rich soil and high humidity, which helps the plants absorb nutrients. However, the soil in these regions is often poor in nitrogen, a key nutrient for plant growth. Now, to compensate, pitcher plants have evolved special leaf structures called pitchers that trap insects. The northeast region of India has a warm and humid climate with plenty of rainfall, which creates a perfect environment for plants to grow and flourish. Now, the Sundarbans, located in the delta of the Ganga and Brahmaputra river, are a unique and rich ecosystem that supports a wide variety of plant and animal life, making them a significant area for biodiversity. Now, mangrove plants are the characteristic feature of the Sundarbans as they are specially adapted to grow in the saline and waterlogged conditions of coastal areas. Now, the Western Ghat are a region in India known for having a large variety of plant, animals, and other forms of life, which makes them rich in biodiversity. Now, xerophytes, they are the plants that are adapted to live in very dry environments like desert where water is scarce. Yes, so this is an image showing you pitcher plant. Here, and the correct answer is option number A here. Rest of the options are incorrect. Next question, which one of the following is not a feature of biodiversity hotspot? So options are large number of species, abundance of endemic species, mostly located in the tropics, and the last one is mostly located in the polar region. What will be the correct answer? Okay, option number D, mostly located in the polar region. This is the correct answer. Let's have a look at the explanation. Now, biodiversity hotspots are regions that have a large number of unique species found nowhere else on Earth, known as endemic species, and they are also under significant threat from human activities, making their conservation crucial for maintaining Earth's biological diversity. Now, these hotspots are mainly located in tropical and subtropical regions rather than polar areas because these regions have a more stable and warm climate, which supports a greater variety of plant and animal life. In contrast, polar areas are colder and have less biodiversity, making them less suitable for high level of species diversity found in hotspots. Okay, so this is the column based question here. Column 1 and column 2 are given here. Okay, you have to match the column 1 with column 2, and 4 options are given to you, A, B, C, D. You have to select the correct answer from these options. Okay, here the correct answer is option number D. Okay, now let's have a look at the explanation for this answer. So dodo was a flightless bird that lived only on the island of Mauritius, means which means it could not be found anywhere. That's why A is matches with the 3, means dodo with Mauritius. The next one, quagga was a type of zebra that lived in the Karoo and southern Free State regions of South Africa. It was a subspecies, meaning it was closely related to the common zebra but had some distinctive features. Okay, so B goes with 1, which is Africa. Then the thylacine, also known as the Tasmanian tiger, was a marsupial animal that once lived in mainland Australia but was later only found in Tasmania. Okay, so C goes with 4, which is Australia. Now, Seleucia was a large marine mammal discovered in 1741 near Bering Island, which is part of the Commander Islands in present-day Russia. Okay, this is clear. So we can say that the D matches with the second, which is Russia of the column 2. Here you can see the image showing you dodo, quagga, thylacine, and Seleucia. These are all extinct now. Next question, what is common to the following plants? Nepenthes, Xylotum, Rauwolfia, and Aconitum. So what would be the correct answer? Okay, you have 4 options here. You have to select the correct answer from these options. Option number A is all are ornamental plants. Option number B, all are phylogenetic linked species. Option number C, all are prone to overexploitation. And option number D, all are exclusively present in the eastern Himalayas. Okay, option number C will be the correct answer here. All are prone to overexploitation. Let's have a look at the explanation. Now, the plants Nepenthes, Xylotum, Rauwolfia, and Aconitum, they are at risk of being overused or harvested too much because of their special qualities such as medicinal value, beauty, or other useful traits. Now, this overexploitation can lead to a decrease in their population, threatening their survival in nature. Nepenthes, also known as carnivorous pitcher plant, is a plant that traps and digests insects to get nutrients which help it survive in poor soil. However, it is being harvested by people who want to keep it as a decorative plant or use it for medicine, which is causing its population to decrease. Xylotum is a rare type of whisk fern, which is a primitive plant that lacks true leaves and roots. It is collected by scientists because of its unique features and importance in understanding early plant evolution. Now, Rauwolfia is a medicinal plant that is commonly used in pharmaceuticals due to its active compound, reserpine, which is used to treat high blood pressure. However, it is also being over-harvested, which means people are collecting more of it than can be naturally replaced, leading to a decrease in its population. Aconitum is a toxic medicinal plant that is in high demand due to its medicinal properties, but it is also threatened because of its demand, which puts it at risk of overharvesting and habitat loss. So this is an image showing you pitcher plant and Rauwolfia vomitoria. Next question: the one-horn rhinoceros is specific to which of the following century? So let's have a look at the option. Option number A, Bithar, Kanika. B, option number B is Bandipur. Option number C is Kaziranga. Option number D is Corbett Park. So what will be the correct answer? The option number C, Kaziranga, is the correct answer. Let's have a look at the explanation. So Kaziranga National Park is located in the Golaghat and the Nagaon district of Assam, which is state in northeastern India. And this park is famous for protecting one-horned rhinoceros and is a vital part of the region's biodiversity. It's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. A one-horned rhinoceros, specifically found in Kaziranga National Park, is a unique species of rhinoceros that is adapted to the swampy and grassland habitats of this park. Now, one of the options was Bhitarkanika. This is a wildlife sanctuary located in Gujarat, India, and it is famous for being home to saltwater crocodiles. Now, Bandipur National Park, this is located in Karnataka. This is a wildlife sanctuary that is famous for its tiger population. Corbett Park, also known as Corbett National Park, is a famous wildlife sanctuary in India, known for a significant population of tigers and not for one-horned rhinoceros. That's why correct answer is option number C, Kaziranga. Next question. Among the animal groups given below, which one has the highest percentage of endangered species? So options are insects, mammals, amphibians, and reptiles. So what will be the correct answer? The option number C, amphibians, is the correct answer. Now, many amphibians like frogs and salamanders are facing a high risk of extinction today, as shown by recent studies. Now, this is mainly due to factors such as habitat loss, pollution, climate change, and diseases like the chytrid fungus. These animals are especially sensitive to environmental changes because they live in both water and land, making them vulnerable to disruptions in either habitat. Many species are facing threats because their natural homes like forests or wetlands are being destroyed or changed, often because of human activities such as deforestation, pollution, or climate change. Amphibians like frogs, toads, and salamanders are facing a big problem today. About 32% of all amphibian species are at risk of going extinct. And this is a serious issue because amphibians play an important role in ecosystem, helping control insect populations and serving as food for other animals. Beside the previously mentioned species, about 23% of all mammal species and 12% of all bird species are also at risk of extinction. Let's discuss very short answer type questions now. So question is, what characteristics make a community stable? So let's have a look at the answer. Now the characteristics that make a community stable are: first point is less variation in productivity from year to year. So this means that ecosystem, or this refers to ecosystem where the amount of energy or biomass produced remain relatively stable over time. Now, this stability is often seen in well-balanced ecosystem where the producers, consumer, and decomposer function efficiently, leading to consistent energy flow and minimal fluctuation in productivity. Second one is resistance or resilient to occasional disturbances. This refers to an ecosystem's ability to withstand or recover from temporary disruptions caused by natural events like storms or even human activities like pollution. The third one is resistance to invasions by alien species. This refers to the ability of a native ecosystem to resist or recover from the harmful effects of non-native species that are introduced into it. Now, alien species, also known as invasive species, can disrupt the balance of an ecosystem by outcompeting native species for resources, altering habitats, or introducing new diseases. Okay, so let's discuss the question. What could have triggered mass extinction of species in the past? So let's have a look at the answer. Now, the exact cause of past mass extinctions is unknown. Now, scientists have several possible explanations they think might have caused these events, such as volcanic activity, meteor impact, climate change, or sea level changes. The first one is the fall of sea levels. So this refers to a decrease in the volume of water in the oceans, which can occur due to various geological processes like the formation of land masses or changes in the Earth's climate. Next one is a change in the temperature. Whether freezing or warming can significantly affect living organisms by altering their metabolic processes, enzyme activity, and overall survival. For example, freezing temperatures can damage cell structures and slow down biological activities, while warming can lead to increased metabolic rates and potentially disrupt ecosystem if the temperature rises beyond the organism's tolerance limits. Next one, if an asteroid or meteorite hits the earth, it can cause massive destruction. The impact would release a huge amount of energy, leading to massive fires, shock waves, and a cloud of dust and debris that could block sunlight. The next one is the poisonous hydrogen sulfide emissions from the sea. Okay, so these are very harmful gases released by certain marine organisms, especially in oxygen poor environments. These emissions can be toxic to both aquatic life and humans, causing healthy issues like respiratory problems and even death in high concentrations. Next one is supernova, also called as nova or gamma ray burst. This is a massive explosion that happens when a star runs out of fuel and collapses under its own gravity. This explosion releases an enormous amount of energy in the form of light, heat, and high energy particles like gamma rays. The last one is plate tectonics. This is a theory that Earth's outer layer, called the lithosphere, is divided into large, rigid plates that move slowly over the softer, hotter layers beneath them, called the asthenosphere. So these plates can move apart, come together, or slide past each other, causing earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and the formation of mountain ranges. Next question is, what accounts for the greater ecological diversity of India? Let's have a look at the answer. The greater ecological diversity of India is because of the geographical diversity in terms of varying topography. For example, desert, rainforests, mangroves, coral reefs, wetland, estuaries, and alpine meadows all are present in India. So this results in building of different varieties of ecosystem with greater ecological diversity. Next question, according to David Tillman, greater the diversity, greater is the primary productivity. Can you think of a very low diversity man-made ecosystem that has high productivity? Let's have a look at the answer. Now, the man-made ecosystems like agricultural fields of paddy or wheat show very low diversity but possess high productivity. So these are also examples of the monoculture. Okay, agriculture field of paddy and wheat, they are also examples of monoculture. Next one, what does red indicate in the IUCN Red List 2004? Let's have a look at the answer. Now, red in IUCN Red List 2004 refers to the taxa with highest risk of extinction. Next question, explain as to how protection of biodiversity hotspot alone can reduce up to 30% of the current rate of species extinction. Let's have a look at the answer. Now, the biodiversity hotspots are regions with high level of species richness, especially those under threats from humans. Thus, their protection can reduce the current rate of extinction. These regions can be protected as biological reserves, national parks, and sanctuaries. So this is an image showing you biodiversity hotspots. So you can see India has 4 recognized biodiversity hotspots: the Himalayas, Indo-Burma region, the Western Ghats, and the Sundaland, which includes the Nicobar Islands of India. Okay, in the image, the biologically hotspots are visible. Next question, what is the difference between endemic and exotic species? Let's have a look at the answer. Endemic species are native for indigenous species which are restricted to a particular geographical region. Exotic or alien species are those species which are introduced from one geographical region to another geographical region. Exotic species may lead to disappearance of native species as well. Next question, how is the presently occurring species extinction different from the earlier mass extinctions? Let's have a look at the answer. Now, in earlier time, extinction of species occurred due to natural causes or calamities like food, volcanic eruption, prolonged drought, and landslides. While at present, human activities are the major cause of species extinction. Next question. Of the four major causes for the loss of biodiversity, alien species invasion, habitat loss and fragmentation, as well as overexploitation, co-extinction, which according to you is the major cause for the loss of biodiversity? Give reasons in support of your answer. Let's have a look at the answer. So, out of the four major causes of loss of biodiversity, okay, loss of habitat and fragmentation is the major cause, because let's have a look at this. So basically, habitat loss and fragmentation happens when forests are cleared or overused for farming, cities, and industry. So basically, these forests are being cleared up for farming, for doing agriculture, for building cities and industries. Okay, and this destroys the natural homes of plants and animals, making it hard for them to survive and reproduce. Now, increasing human population has put too much pressure on forest resources, leading to deforestation and loss of forest land. Now, this destruction removes the natural homes of many species, causing a decline in their populations and threatening biodiversity, as forests are crucial for the survival of various plants and animals. Now, when large habitats are broken into smaller pieces, it harms animals like mammals and birds that need big spaces to live and move, especially those that travel long distances, meaning migrating animals. Now, these animals struggle to find enough food, mates, and safe areas, which causes their numbers to drop. So, this is a, you can see deforestation. This is habitat loss due to deforestation. The next question, discuss one example based on your day to day observation showing how loss of one species may lead to extinction of another. Let's have a look at the answer. Now, co-extinction is when two related species go extinct together because they depend on each other for survival. For example, if a fish species disappears, all the parasites that live only on that fish may also disappear. Similarly, if a plant species that relies on a specific pollinator like bee goes extinct, the pollinator might also vanish because it has no other food source. Another example is plant pollinator mutualism. Okay, this we have discussed, where extinction of one leads to extinction of another. Okay. So if there is no plant, then the pollinator can also get extinct because that plant was only the food source. It was getting the nectar and the pollens from that plant. Insect aphids, insects aphids, they are polyphagous, mean they feed on more than one plant species, whereas monophagous, they feed on particular species of plant only. That's why we are calling them monophagous. So obviously, monophagous insects may become extinct if the plant species, okay, upon which they feed become extinct. So obviously, there are more chances that the monophagous insects will get extinct because they feed on a particular species of plant only. So if that plant species get extinct, there is high chances that these monophagous insects can also get extinct. Okay, let's discuss short answer type questions. The question is, a species area curve is drawn by plotting the number of species against the area. How is it that when very large area is considered, the slope is steeper than that of the smaller area? Let's have a look at the answer. Now, in very large areas, the number of species is much more. That is why the curve is much steeper. Okay, and this is because the larger area has more food availability and other resources. So obviously, more species can thrive there. Next question, is it possible that productivity and diversity of a natural community remain constant over a time period of, say, 100 years? Okay, let's have a look at the answer. Okay, so no, it is not possible. that productivity and diversity of a natural community remain constant over a certain period of time. Okay, this is because let's have a look at the reasons. Now, the natural habitat is never maintained in real because ecosystems are constantly changing due to natural processes like weather, natural disasters, and the interactions between living organisms. Human activities also play a significant role in altering these habitats, leading to changes in species composition and environmental conditions. Even though resources like food, water, and space may be plentiful, they are actually limited and must be used wisely. This is because living organisms, including humans, need these resources to survive, and if they are overused, they can run out. So, and the last one is environmental conditions like temperature, food availability, and weather. They keep changing over time. So, this means that organisms must adapt to these changes to survive and reproduce. If they can't adjust, okay, if they're not able to adjust, they may struggle to find enough food, avoid predators, or cope with new challenges, which can reduce their chances of passing on their genes. Means they will not survive. Next question is, there is a greater biodiversity in tropical and subtropical regions than in temperate region. You have to explain this. Let's have a look at the answer. Now, the tropical and the subtropical regions exhibit maximum biodiversity because these regions remain undisturbed due to less variable climate conditions. So, tropics has a longer evolutionary time for species diversification. So, these tropical climates, these tropical areas, they have a stable climate. Okay, and there are not much changes going on there. So, the species, a particular species, gets more time to evolve. Okay, so tropics had a longer evolutionary time for species diversification. Okay. There was niche specialization there because the climate was stable. There was not many changes going on there. Whereas the temperate environments are more seasonal, so they keep on changing. They are less constant and unpredictable. Therefore, less niche specialization occurred there, and lesser species diversity are observed. Next question, why are the conventional methods not suitable for the assessment of biodiversity of bacteria? We're talking about the bacteria here. Let's have a look at the answer. Now, many bacteria cannot be grown in laboratory settings under standard methods. Okay, using standard methods. So all the bacteria cannot be grown in laboratory, which makes it difficult to study their physical structure and chemical processes, as these traits are usually observed when the organisms are alive and growing, but you are not able to culture them in the lab. Now, this challenges limits our understanding of these bacteria, as we cannot easily examine their shape, size, or how they interact with other substances without being able to culture them. Now, bacteria are very small and diverse, so studying their biodiversity is challenging. Instead of using traditional methods, scientists look at features like their shape, chemical makeup, means biochemistry, and other traits to understand how different they are. Now, these methods help in identifying and classifying bacteria more accurately, as conventional techniques may not capture the full range of bacterial diversity. So, instead of conventional method, other methods are being used, like these bacteria are being analyzed at the biochemical level. So, morphology and biochemistry is also taken into consideration to classify these bacteria. Okay, so thus conventional methods are not suitable for the assessment of biodiversity of bacteria. Next question, what criteria would one use in categorizing a species as threatened? Let's have a look at the answer. And the criteria that should be used in categorizing a species as threatened are, okay, so first one is the population of a particular species is decreasing very quickly, which is serious concern. Okay. This decline can be due to various factors like habitat loss, pollution, overexploitation, or climate change. Now, such a rapid decrease in species numbers may lead to extinction, which disrupts ecosystem and reduces biodiversity. Now, when the habitat of an organism is modified or destroyed, it leads to a loss of their natural environment, which can threaten their survival. Now, this happens due to human activities like deforestation, urbanization, or pollution, which alter or eliminate the places where plants and animals live. As a result, species may lose food sources, shelter, and breeding grounds, making it difficult for them to survive and reproduce. This is a major cause of biodiversity loss and can lead to extinction of many species if the habitat damage is not addressed. Next one is the predator or poacher activities. Increase in predator and poacher activities. Okay, so this can disrupt the balance of an ecosystem by reducing the population of prey species, which can lead to overgrowth of plant and decline in biodiversity. Now, this disturbance can affect the food chain and cause long-term environmental issues. Next question, what could be the possible explanation for greater vulnerability of amphibians to extinction as compared to other animal groups? Let's have a look at the answer. So amphibians are more vulnerable to extinction because, first of all, habitat modification or destruction of the habitat can lead to, or it can cause extinction of amphibians. How? Let's see that. Amphibians need both water and land to live. So if either of these environment is changed or destroyed, it can harm their survival. Unlike animals that only need one type of habitat, amphibians are more at risk because they depend on both the habitats, land and water, making them more sensitive to environmental changes like pollution, deforestation, or wetland loss. Now, habitat fragmentation, next one. Okay, this occurs when natural habitats are split into smaller isolated areas due to human activities like deforestation or urbanization. So, this isolates the animal and plant populations into smaller groups, making them more vulnerable to inbreeding, which can lead to loss of genetic diversity and certain environmental changes which can lead to their extinction. A third one is large scale climate changes. This can alter the environment of water bodies, making it harder for amphibians like frogs to lay their eggs. Amphibians need specific conditions in water to reproduce, and if climate changes too much, like making water too warm or dry, it can stop them from spawning, which affects their ability to survive and multiply. Okay, let's discuss long answer type questions. So, question is elaborate how invasion by an alien species reduces the species diversity of an area. Let's have a look at the answer. So, when alien species are introduced either by accident or on purpose, they can harm native species and disrupt the ecosystem. These invasive species like Parthenium, lantana, and water hyacinth grow rapidly and take over natural habitats, leading to the decline or extinction of local plants and animals. Similarly, the Nile perch, a large fish, when introduced into new waters, can become a top predator and threaten native fish populations. Now, this shows how invasive species can cause serious environmental damage and threaten biodiversity. Another example of exotic invasion is Nile perch, that we have already discussed. Okay, so these are all invasive species: Parthenium, lantana, water hyacinth, and Nile perch. Okay, we have discussed about the Nile perch. This is an alien species. It was introduced in the lake of Victoria in East Africa, and it started feeding on native cichlid fish, and the population of cichlid fish decreased. Okay. So as a result, indigenous cichlid fish became extinct. So this animal is showing you water hyacinth, Parthenium, as well as Nile perch. These are all You can see alien species. Okay, non-native species. Exotic species, you can say. Next question, how can you as an individual prevent the loss of biodiversity? Let's have a look at the answer. So biodiversity, as we know, this is the variety of life form on earth. So biodiversity is the occurrence of different type of species, habitat or ecosystem, or gene pool in a particular place and various part of the earth. Biodiversity can be protected by using special plans and managing both living and non-living resources wisely, which helps keep different species and their environment safe. Some of the conservation strategies are as follows. First one, in situ conservation refers to protecting useful animals and plants in their natural environment, meaning they are preserved in their original habitat rather than being moved to a human-made place like a zoo or botanical garden. So this method helps maintain the ecological balance, ensures genetic diversity, and allows these species to survive naturally, which is important for the health of the ecosystem. Next one is preserving critical habitat, okay, such as feeding, breeding, and resting areas of endangered species. This is also very essential for their survival and growth. Now, these habitats provide necessary resources and safe environments for animals to live, reproduce, and raise their youngs. By protecting these areas, we help endangered species multiply and recover their population, which is crucial for maintaining biodiversity and ecological balance. Now, hunting should be banned or strictly regulated to protect wildlife populations and maintain ecological balance. Many animal species are hunted for their body parts, sports, or habitat destruction, which can lead to their endangerment or extinction. Now, regulating or banning hunting helps preserve biodiversity, ensure food chains remains intact, and prevents human interference in natural ecosystem. The next one is habitat of migrating animals should be protected by bilateral or multilateral agreements. So protecting the habitat of migratory animals through bilateral or multilateral agreement is important because these animals travel long distances between breeding and feeding grounds, and their survival depends on safe and undisturbed habitats. By working together, countries can ensure that these habitats are preserved, which helps maintain biodiversity and ecological balance. Now, people should be made aware of the importance of biodiversity and its conservation. Okay, the awareness should be spread among people also. Why it is important to conserve biodiversity? Because human life is also dependent on this biodiversity. Okay, humans are also getting a lot of benefit from the nature. Okay, they are getting food, they are getting timber. There's a lot of economic benefit as well. Okay, ecosystem is providing lot of services as well. They're cleaning the air. They are providing resources to us. Next one is overexploitation of natural resources. Okay, this must be avoided. So overexploitation means using resources more than what they can be naturally replaced. So we are using more resources. Okay, but these resources are not being replaced very fast. Okay, now this can lead to their depletion and harm the environment as well. So natural resources like forest, water, and minerals, they are essential for life and ecosystem balance. So it is very crucial to use these resources wisely and sustainably to protect the environment and ensure they are available for future generation as well. So these resources are being used very fast and they take a lot of time to get replaced. Now biodiversity plays an important role in maintaining and sustaining supply of goods and services. Clear? So as we have discussed, it is very important to save biodiversity because biodiversity helps keep our environment healthy and balanced by providing essential goods like food, medicine, and clean air. as well as services like pollination, water purification, and climate regulation, all of which is vital for the life on the earth. That's why it is very important to conserve biodiversity. Now, conservation of biodiversity ensures well being of all the living creatures and their future generation as well. Next question. Can you think of a scientific explanation besides analogy used by Paul Ehrlich for the direct relationship between diversity and stability of the ecosystem? Let's have a look at the answer. Now, the scientific explanation for the direct relationship between diversity and stability of the ecosystem could be as follows. Now, you can imagine a forest area where diverse species of plants are growing. Now, this simple food chain is in an ecosystem, showing how different organisms depend on each other for survival. In a forest, plants form the base of the producing food. Okay, so they form the base and they produce food through photosynthesis. Insect, they feed on these plants, acting as primary consumers. So basically, they are herbivores. While bird, they eat the insects and they act as secondary consumers. Now, this interdependence highlights the balance and complexity of ecological relationship, a key concept in understanding the ecosystem. Now, plants harbor a variety of insects on which a lot of bird species would depend for their food. Okay, so we have discussed this. Let's understand this again. So, suppose there is a plant and this plant is harboring a variety of insects. Okay, and on these insects, a lot of bird species would depend for their food. So, if a specific plant species dies, the related insect population will be affected, and that would lead to food unavailability for the birds. Okay, and in addition, if the plant species is a nitrogen fixer means it can fix atmospheric nitrogen. It helps add nitrogen to the soil, which is essential for plant growth. When these plants die, they do not replenish nitrogen into the soil, leading to a decrease in soil fertility. This affects other plants that depend on nitrogen, causing them to grow poorly. As this cycle continues, the entire ecosystem suffers because plant cannot grow well, which impacts the animals and other organisms that rely on them, ultimately harming the whole habitat. So this will obviously affect the other plants as well. So if the cycle continues, the whole habitat or ecosystem will be negatively affected. Okay, so entire ecosystem will be negatively affected because the base, the plants, the producers, they are being affected. Next question. Though the conflict between humans and wildlife started with the evolution of man, the intensity of conflict has increased due to activities of modern man. Justify your answer with suitable examples. So let's have a look at the answer. Now, the humans have evolved around 2.5 million years ago, and agriculture began about 11,000 years ago. So it is since then humans have started to exploit the forest land for agriculture. Now, development in medical technology has increased the lifespan of humans, decreased the mortality rate, means death rate of both mother and child, further aggravating the problem of human population. The human population is increasing now because the lifestyle is better now. Now, along with this, industrial revolution led to heavy use of Earth's resources without proper recycling, causing a lot of waste. Now, this waste harms the natural homes of animals and plants. So, this waste is destroying the habitat of animals and plants, both in water and on land, putting many species at risk and leading to their extinction. Now, the monumental amount of waste is destroying the natural habitat of other species as well, both plants and animals. Okay, so this is how human activities have led to increase in conflict between humans and wildlife. Next question. What is an ecosystem service? Listing 4 important ecosystem services provided by natural ecosystem. Are you in favor or against levying a charge on the service provided by the ecosystem? So let's have a look at the answer. So what are the ecosystem services? Services provided by the ecosystem. So basically, ecosystem services are the benefits that nature provides to humans, such as clean air, water, and resources, which is essential for human survival. Okay. Now, forests are vital sources of ecological services, providing a wide range of benefits. from maintaining biodiversity to regulating the climate and providing essential resources for humans. They purify air and water, prevent soil erosion, cycle nutrients, and protect against natural disasters like floods. A forest also sequester carbon, which helps to mitigate climate change and support a vast number of species, making them essential for terrestrial biodiversity. Okay, so some of the ecosystem services the nature provides. The first one is purification of air and water, mitigating droughts and floods, cycling the nutrients, generating fertile soil, providing wildlife habitat. Okay, maintenance of biodiversity, then pollination of the crops, which is very important because only after pollination there is fertilization and seed and the fruit set. Next one is providing storage site for carbon, means they are fixing the atmospheric carbon dioxide and they are producing oxygen as a byproduct, and they are doing this by the process of photosynthesis. So in photosynthesis the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, this is fixed into the organic compound which is glucose. Next is providing aesthetic, culture and spiritual values. Now Robert Costanza and his colleagues tried to put a price tag on nature's life support services, which was about US 33 trillion a year. Okay, so if we calculate the cost of these services, it will come out to be 33 trillion a year. Okay, US dollar 33 trillion a year. Okay, so it is very important to understand how much nature is providing for us for free, and if we overuse or misuse the resources, we will pay a heavy price for it. And yes, we are not in the favor of levying a charge on the service provided by the ecosystem. Yeah. With this, we end this session. I hope this session was quite knowledgeable for you. We'll meet you in the next session. Thank you very much for listening.